Yeah. What's up, world? I'm back. Jay Tronius in the building. This is the next artist. We got his music right here till he comes in. What's up, world? Jay Tronius back in here. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna keep this thing going and flowing, y'all. You know what I mean? What do you say, the dreadlocks? So we'll just jam it till we get on here. There we go. I like that. There we go. Currently listening to the Built to Last album. That's a clue on who I'm about to talk with. Built to Last. I know y'all hear that boom bap in there. That's a clue. You're listening closely. If you know this cat, you already know who it is. If not, we'll just keep letting it go, man. On the Built to Last album. I'm being patient because I know this interview is about to be amazing. He just told you in the music. He told you who he was. You're listening. Beantown State. Huh. Hmm. Oh, bear with me, y'all. He's coming. It's all right. We can jam his album on his album till it's time. Keep reminding you, it's Built to Last. The album's called Built to Last. Oh. All right, here we go, y'all. Let's get our guest in, man. That was his album, Built to Last. One moment, y'all. We're going to get him in here. Make sure my phone is down. Tis it is. All right, all right. Here we go. You can hear me, Big Dog?
Yeah. What's good?
What's going on, man? There should be an option on there to let you share the video.
Yep. I'm just emptying some of these boxes off my screen so I can even see you. Okay, there's you. All right, hold on 1 second.
What up? Oh, there you are over there.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right.
Brother, man, what's going on? What's going on?
Yo, man, I'm just chilling, you know, looking kind of prehistoric, you know what I'm saying? We in the Neanderthal times right now. That's how it's just gonna have to be.
It is what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Jay Tronius. You are now gabbing with the Guvna. Without further ado, man, I want my guest to tell y'all who he is, where he's from, and what it's about. Brother, let me know who you are.
Hold on, fam. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna throw these headphones on because the sound that I'm getting from the speakers is kind of crazy. It's a little staticky. I'm thinking it might be better if I just pop these in.
Is that better for you right there?
Here we go. All right, cool. Now I can hear you.
Word. Now, without further ado, man, tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and what it's about, brother.
Oh, peace. My name is Akrobatik. I'm an MC out of Boston, Massachusetts. You know what I'm saying? Just representing my crew, the Perceptionists, and, you know, myself, the artist, A to the K. That's about it. You know.
Hey man, listen, that name holds weight, y'all. I can tell it. He probably won't tell you, but I'm gonna let y'all know, man. This is a legendary Boston hip hop artist that we're speaking with right now.
Thank you, fam.
Peace and many blessings to this brother, man. Yo, so let's start from the rip, man. Let's tell people your music journey, man. Where did it start? Where did it go? And where is it going?
Yeah, all right. That's a great question, bro. Well, I mean, you know, I'm an old school Boston kid, man, and it really started for me kind of in the beginning of hip hop, really. You know, like I was born right in that era, you know, that hip hop kind of began. So my earliest memories of hip hop is like, you know, Run DMC and Cool Mo and young LL Cool J, you know what I mean? People like this. So by listening to those guys, they were the ones who, you know, made me fall in love with hip hop. You know, KRS-One, Rakim, and stuff like that. And then eventually, when I became a teenager, I started doing shows at like all the talent shows. They used to have talent shows at the venues around Boston, and you know, it would be like dance crews and singing groups and double dutch teams and all this. And I'd have my little beat on my cassette tape, throw that in, do the talent show, drop my little rhyme over it, and win a lot of them. And so through that, I got a little name for myself locally. And, you know, once I got to like my college years, I got the opportunity to meet some cats that was really doing some things. You know, I started to meet other MCs that had records out, like Mr. Liv, Esoteric, guys like that, Ed OG. And I met Pete Bazil, who started Detonator Records. And Detonator Records is where I put out all my earliest work. And that was the home for my music during the time where I was really starting to get my recognition, my early shine, before me and Mr. Liff created the Perceptionists, and we started putting records out with Def Jux and later on Mellow Music. So, nice. As far as the recording artist part of it, you know, that's the gist. You know, there's a lot of shows and traveling and special projects in the midst also, but that's that. And then, you know, another layer to it is that, like, as it's gotten later on in my career, I've been teaching. So now I teach a course on hip hop history and culture at UMass Boston. I've been doing that for a handful of years now, and that's, you know, it goes hand in hand with being an artist, and you know, art and education, man, they go hand in hand. So that has been just a real blessing for me and a guidance. It just kind of naturally takes me down the path to meeting cool, creative individuals such as yourself that are also out here doing, phenomenal things and branching out and moving around to different parts of the country and the world and doing stuff. And I like just staying connected with folks on that level.
Man, and let me tell you, man, you've had a huge impact in the Boston scene and in the hip hop genre in itself, man. And it's been neat. It's been, interesting link. When I came to Boston, Berklee College of Music brought me to Boston. And so I came to Boston in '97. And one of my first roommates was Edon.
Oh man. Yeah,
So
Edon is the man.
Edon and me were college roommates at Berklee College of Music.
Wow.
And so there used to be a lot of y'all coming to our dorm room.
Yeah, that's crazy trivia. I wouldn't even know. First of all, I wouldn't have realized you would even be old enough to fit in that category.
Yeah,
so
man.
That you go back '97. Wow. So yeah, I mean, Edon's a phenomenal dude. He's originally from like the Baltimore area, I think it was. But like, him, like yourself, man, Boston just will adopt you once you come here and become part of the music scene. You're part of that Boston scene. So
yeah,
that's dope though that you were roommates with Edon. He did production on my first album, Balance. He did a joint called The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, and they actually ended up using that joint on The Wire, which was a show about Baltimore. Now that I think about it, so it's a lot of crazy connections there.
Yeah, man. It literally, in Edon, man, he was the first like diehard hip hop fan that I actually spent a lot of time. We literally shared the same room, and even at that time, he had a little DJ set up, and he used to record people in our room.
Yeah.
So a lot of cats. I wouldn't be surprised if you at some point in time you didn't come.
I was gonna say there's got to be a point in time where I recorded something in that room that you're talking about. If not the jam I'm talking about already, you know what I'm saying? Like, because that ended up coming out in '03, but we probably recorded it in like '01, '02. But either way, man, that's legendary talk right there, because that brings back some memories of a just ill era, like one of the illest eras of my life, and definitely, as far as I'm concerned, the illest era of Boston hip hop. That's that. When I talk about Detonator Records, that all kind of sprouted from that era, from like mid '90s, early 2000s.
all of that, dog.
Oh man, yeah. Shout out to my man Bruno. Yeah, Biscuit Head. Like just all the Western Front in Cambridge. You know what I mean? Everybody going up there and just working on their chops, man. And we all just had the opportunity to do that in a way where.
Yeah, I was there. I was there. Whether we knew each other at that point or not, I was in the building.
Yeah,
I was there, man, and it's been crazy. So
well,
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that I'm glad that we eventually joined forces officially, man. Because when we did, we laid down something important, man. That the record that we did together, Hope, on my Built to Last album, man. That's one of my most important songs I ever made, as far as I'm concerned, man. It's a real special part of the whole whatever legacy I'm gonna eventually leave behind musically. That song is a really important part of that. That would be probably one of the first 3 I would want anybody to hear from me, man. So I'm glad to have you on there, and that's gonna last forever. We did that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. It's crazy because that was the Built to Last album. I literally, while we were waiting on you, I was playing the first two songs from the Built to Last album was playing.
Oh, okay, no doubt.
Come on, so we got to put the little plugs in. Like,
I appreciate that. Appreciate that.
Now, now, like you've done this. Do you plan on this music wise? Do you plan on doing anything like you got some projects in the works right now, or what do you got going on musically right now?
Yeah, well, right now I'm working on a couple of things. I'm doing this one project that's a group project where there's a producer who's producing all the tracks. Excuse me. There's a producer that's producing all the tracks, and then there's two vocalists. So it's like me and then another homie who also raps and sings. I don't want to be too specific about exactly what it is yet, because it's still just in the early talking stage, you know what I mean? And I don't want to put it out there no more than I should and jinx nothing. But that's going on. And then in addition to that, I'm just, doing joints with other people, jumping on features here and there. I just recorded a new song for Mr. Lift's new project that he has coming out. Um, and then you know, just I got a lot of homies that are producers that are always sending me phenomenal beats that will rock, you know, anybody's headphones or any party. And there's a lot of them that I need to jump on. And now that you know, circumstances in the world around us have kind of confined us within the walls a little more often, you know, I'm taking advantage of that. And so I'm just getting all these dope beats I got together and really start to put my ideas down to them and you know, make sure they get heard by the people. So
Man,
you know,
that's what's
staying busy.
up. That's what's up. Now,
Yeah.
brother, we do know that one of the dynamic duos that came out the hip hop Boston movement was you and Mr. Lift. Now, break that whole era down of you two. How did that start, and what was that about?
Word. Well, I mean, first of all, shout out to Lift. You know what I'm saying? Peace to the brother, man. That's my dude for life right there. I mean, it goes back basically to mid '90s. You know, like 95, 96 now. Like me and his brother been friends for 25 years, but like uh, we were just some young hungry cats who just both happened to end up recording a lot of our earliest work, like demos, at the same studio, which was Backpack Studios, which was run by my man Papa D from Brick Records. Shout out to Papa D, you know what I'm saying, the whole Brick Records fam, Truth and all of them. Oh man, I mean, one day when people are getting back together again, man, we gotta have a big Boston reunion, man. That's something that just needs to happen because you know, I miss all of y'all, man. I'm glad that we're even doing this so we could just kick it. You know what I'm saying? I'm also happy that there's going to be an audience of people to join in with the conversation and, you know, at least peep it and get some of the story and all that. But I'm just glad that we're able to do this. And hopefully, you know, it's just going to keep happening, you know, regardless of what the circumstances are out there. You know what
Bro,
I mean?
I've
But
had so much fun
yeah,
doing this so
me
far.
and Liv, me, oh, it's amazing. I just had Liv as a guest visitor to my class that I teach because now I'm teaching my class on Zoom too. And so Liv sat with us for like 45 minutes and we built on Boston and traveling the world, talking about how much traveling we've done around the world together and thinking, man, like when's the next time a MC that got some hot music out is gonna get a chance to hop on a plane and fly overseas and tour Europe or tour Japan or something like that. Like we, not to say we took it for granted, but we didn't realize just how blessed we were to be in an era where that wasn't something that was ever really up for question as to whether or not you could do it. You know what I mean? You could just do that. We've been to so many places and we're so thankful for it. But like now, you know, hopefully it's not that long, but I don't know how long it's going to be before international travel is just popping again. You know what I mean? And everybody is just feeling free, like they can just fly and go from country to country and get their passport stamped all over the place and do a bunch of shows and be around a bunch of people drinking and having a good time. I mean, that's something that is like a normal part of life, especially when you think of like the music life, the artist life, but it might not be quite the same moving forward for people. But anyway, I digress. As far as me and Lyft though, we really connected at that studio and through coming through Fax One's radio show at 88.9 at night at Emerson College. Shout out to the whole Emerson College massive that is now all over the United States, just running shit. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. My
Yeah,
whole
man.
crew from back in those days is doing so much. And so Fax One, who was the original DJ of the Perceptionist, he had the radio show. He would always play our demos and stuff like that. So me and Liv just started hanging out more, making beats together, you know, playing video games all the time. We just really bonded, and then we just started writing songs together. And it was like magic. We would do shows and like be each other's hype man for a little while, and then it was like kind of like everyone just was like, when are y'all gonna just go ahead and make a group? So eventually it went down, and the cool part was that when we finally got to put out our real first album, it was at a point where we both had solo albums that did real well, and we were able to get a deal with Jeff Jooks that was run by LP, who another hip hop legend from Company Flow, now run the Jewels. Just one of the biggest producers out there. He was the one who put us on with that first deal for Perceptionist,
Man,
and then
man. And y'all
from there
dynamic
from there
on
we just been
stage is
doing it.
crazy, bro. Y'all perform together It's great energy, man. You know, it reminds me of Fife and Bust, and you know how Tribe. You know, not Fife, and I'm getting the names mixed.
Tip and Fry, right? Is that what you mean?
Like them two, and then Bust
Chemistry.
this cat. Like you know when you got that bounce off, man. When you got a group and that bounce off, and you can tell
Yeah.
it because it meshes. You know, you can tell you brothers have been doing it for a while. When I really got to start seeing you perform, man, it was cool. It was
That's what I was gonna say, man. I think that a big part of that has to do with the level of the friendship, because you know other people have kind of compared us to some of those duos, those great duos that we all know and love, and like you know Busta Rhymes and Spliff Star and Fife and Q-Tip, like those guys, you know, they had to be best friends. Like you could hear in the music they made, and you could see in the performances that they gave that these guys hung out together. These are friends. These are guys that probably have inside jokes and they just fuel off each other, and that's where the performance comes from. You definitely saw that with like Wu-Tang, those
yeah.
guys too, man. You could tell, you could even tell within the clique, like which ones had even a closer bond, like Ghostface and Ray. You know what I mean? Like within a bigger thing, they had their own kind of nucleus in there. So, you know, I think me and Liv have that chemistry, especially now. Like, I mean, we always have, but it's cool to see what it's evolved into now. You know, as we're grown men. You know what I'm saying? And like, we don't have time to just hang out and play video games all the time no more, but we still have a bond that's like intellectual. And when we do get to hang out, it's goofy as hell because we're just so comfortable with each other. We've been through so much together, been to so many places that's you know that's a brotherhood that you know how it is. If you have a brother, you don't have to see your brother for years, and then when you see him, it's like you saw him yesterday. It don't even matter.
It's the same energy, man. And
Yeah,
you know, and not for nothing, man. Like you know, just knowing that you know when you come to Boston and you get into the Boston scene, there's certain names that you always hear, and not just in Boston but everywhere. Like I was having a conversation with one of my partners I work with in London, and I brought your name up today, and he got excited. You know, you
oh word,
really put a name out there for yourself globally, man, and that's pretty awesome to see it coming from people that don't know you directly, you know.
right,
And
right,
not only that, with no matter what you've done in your career, one thing I appreciated when we finally really got to chopping it up is that you still have a humbleness about you. You still have this thing where you're like, hey man, you're not just like I'm that dude. You're like, I know I'm that. You know, I'm confident, but I also can see the God in you, and you know you're real
yo,
good about that. Man. You've always been
absolutely.
like that with me, man, and I've always appreciated that part of you. You know.
Yo, well, thank you for acknowledging that, brother. I appreciate it. You know, I think that, you know, I think humility is important. And one of the things I understand about like this whole hip hop journey for me and kind of where it's brought me, like, you know, depending on who you ask, like by certain standards, maybe some people wouldn't consider me to be very successful. You know, I don't have millions of fans. I'm not like some super rich dude that's flexing jewelry and stuff like that. Never have been. So, you know, by some standards, you know, they're going to look at it one way, and then other people might just look at it as the experience and kind of the moments and the catalog and stuff like that. And I hope that anybody who looks at it from that level will see that, yeah, I've done a little something in the game. But I also know that like I'm very lucky, very fortunate, very privileged in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? Like yeah, there was a lot of like fighting and clawing that I had to do on my own to get to a certain level. But at the same time, a lot of things worked in my favor to get me into a position to be able to get to some of those recording studios at that young age and to get the access to some of the people I had the access to and the access to some of the, you know, spaces that I had access to based on who I knew and things like that, based on the fact that I got to go to private school, you know, at a very young age and, you know, met all these talented people that would play roles in my life later on down the line. There's a lot of things that go into any one particular person's journey. And so when I think about all that, I would feel kind of like an asshole if I was just walking around like, yeah, I'm that dude and just taking all the credit for me because my rhymes are just so good and I'm just so much greater than everybody else because of the rhymes that I write. When you know damn well it takes way more than that to get notoriety as an artist and to get opportunities to you know influence people and inspire people to do things, to teach people, to learn from people. All of that stuff comes from, yeah, you might have some sick skills and you might even talk that shit in the rhyme, You know what I'm saying? And because that's the platform for it. But when we just look at each other face to face, we equal regardless of what, you know, because you know, you can have $1 million today and I'm broke, and next time we see each other, those roles go reverse. And what's going to
Right.
judge our character is that the fact that we still treat each other exactly the same way in both roles. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
real.
That's who you decide who you gonna bump fists with and say, yeah, I believe in that brother right there, because that's how it goes. We sitting here right now. I could tell you right now, you know, 10 years ago, I could think of times in my life where, you know, things weren't necessarily so great, and I didn't know where I would be sitting 10 years from that moment. And as I sit here now, who knows? Things could be way better or way worse. You know, we have control over what we have control over. You know, and I think that that alone kind of has to keep you humble, man. Like I've woken up in the hospital more than once. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not knowing how I got there. So that alone tells me I'm not in complete control of nothing.
Hey man, that's real, man. You know, and for anybody that's gone through some near death experiences, which I have too in my life, man, it should make you appreciate life on another level.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Every day of
Yeah.
it. Every day of it, regardless of whether or not you can do all the things you want to do on that particular day. You know what I mean? Like what everybody's dealing with right now is it's you know, aside from all of the suffering and the pain and the loss that's going on as a result of the virus, but then, you know, as far as like folks who haven't been necessarily personally affected by it, you know, you still see a lot of people that are upset and complaining about how their lives have changed, and you know, maybe you can't go to the bar you wanted to go to. Like they having protests in some states and stuff like that. Like out where you at is probably a little bit different than where I'm at in terms of how everybody's looking at it. So it's kind of tough right now, you know, seeing everybody go through that. But at the same time, still a 24-hour period is a 24-hour period. You wake up, you get to see the sun. You know what I'm saying? You got I love one, give him a kiss and a hug and go to sleep. Wake up and see him again. You know, that's a great day.
That's a
That's a great
blessing,
day.
man. I tell people all the time,
You're in the 1%.
hey, I tell I tell them all the time, man. The life experience as a whole is a
Yeah.
blessing to experience. The whole enchilada. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? Now, what is now? Tell us now. How did you get into the education? When did you get into education, and how did that go about, man? When did you start getting into that?
Um. So really early on, back when I was in college at Northeastern for a brief time, they had this program in the summer. It was called oh damn. I didn't think this would come up, so I wasn't thinking about it. But anyway, there was like a program where you they hired young adults to work with like high school kids and middle school kids in a kind of like a prep school type atmosphere in the summer. And so I did that and worked as like a teacher's assistant doing like some English stuff. And that was the first time I'd ever thought of myself in that way at all. But that was way before what would eventually be me teaching in college. I got an opportunity to come through to UMass Boston and speak as a guest artist at Professor Rachel Rubin's class. She had a class on pop culture in American society, and she was doing a unit on hip hop. So she had me come through to speak with the class and whatnot. I walked in, she was playing the message by Grandmaster Flash and Furious Five, so I already knew we was gonna be cool. We had a great conversation, and then a couple months later, you know, she hit me up talking about she had an idea for a hip hop class and wanted me to co-teach the course with her. And so, you know, we just talked it out a little bit, and I ended up doing that. That was in like 2013. So I was doing that, and then I was also teaching a hip hop history class at Prospect Hill Academy in Somerville and in Mass. And I was doing those two things at the same time. But for the last like 5 years, I've been at UMass now, and you know, it wasn't something that I had ever really saw myself doing as a career. But then once I got the opportunity to actually sit with a class for a whole semester, run through that whole hip hop timeline, get to insert my own experience and, you know, opinions and takes on it, and present hip hop in my tailor-made way to present to the students and then see how it manifests into their work. When I got the opportunity to do that, I was like, yo, I'm really doing something here. And then I got to work a little bit with some folks over at the Hip Hop Archive at Harvard, and through doing that, I got to meet Nas, and I got to let Nas know what I was doing, and he let me know that he thought that was a great thing and all that. So obviously, I rode that high for a while because,
And man, no, you let me be
I
a part of
mean,
that experience, man. Like
right,
I remember you calling me and being like, "Yo, watch this little video clip."
yeah,
I
man.
was just sitting there speaking, and me and you were playing in the background. I totally lost my shit, man. Like I was like, "Wow, this is happening right now. This is deep."
It's one of those things where it's like, sometimes these brothers and sisters out here might not realize just how much they can actually, make a change or have an effect on somebody's life just in a 1 or 2 minute meeting. You know what I'm saying? Because like I don't know Nas, and I can't sit here and say that he would even remember me if he saw me again. But just the sincerity in his response to what I was telling him about what I did at UMass, I could tell that he got it. He understood, and he understood that I was in it for the reason I was in it, and that's a big part of why I even wanted to ever be an MC in the first place, because I was listening to these guys and I just always felt like, man, I want these guys to feel like I'm on their level and I'm an MC just like them, and so when you get those opportunities and, Nas is telling you that he thinks it's great that you're teaching hip hop at a university or KRS-One is telling you, yo, that set was dope because he was watching my set at the show where I'm opening up for him.
I was there with you there. Yeah, we shared
Yeah,
that
yeah,
too.
that
Yeah,
was
that's
there, man. We
crazy.
did that. And so, you know, sometimes maybe for them it just might be in a quick moment and they're about to do their thing and what they're doing is so epic that, I'm sure some of the smaller moments might get lost in it sometimes. And maybe for somebody else I'm that, but that moment it just lasts, you know what I mean? To the point where it's like I'm thinking about teaching and I'm thinking about, yeah, on top of all of that great stuff, I got to tell Nas that I'm teaching. You know what I'm saying? And he knows that.
Player.
Like that. So there's the gifts that they just keep coming for me more so than just, a paycheck from the school or something like that. All that's cool. We all need to work, but like the rewards that, no one can ever really take from you. You know what
Man,
I'm saying? It's
those
that type of
moments.
shit.
I call them those moments. For
Yes.
me, it was always crazy because I was in Boston, but I am complete R&B funk. But and it was crazy that the the group of people that gravitated me the hardest was the hip hop culture of Boston. It's like
Yeah.
y'all almost maybe like the Nate Dogg of Boston. Like y'all always like, man, we mess with this dude. He's getting on Edo, put me on the album, you put me on the album, work with
Yeah, man.
Term and Rex and just everybody out there that was making a name for the Boston hip hop scene, man. It's just like y'all all brought me in, man, and that's something that'll never be forgotten. That was all
Oh yeah.
cool.
Nah, you fit right in, bro. Like, and it wasn't. I don't think it was right away that I even realized that you weren't from Boston. You know what I'm saying? It was just you just fit in so well. It just seemed like you had always been there anyway, man. And the energy that you brought was perfect to the scene, man. I used to always look forward to going either and doing a show or seeing a show and you on the flyer. I know I'm gonna get to hear you do your thing.
Yeah, man.
Cause yeah, I got some favorites. That what is it? The thick thighs joint. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Come on, man.
yeah. That's
I'm
still my
not.
most popular song, man. It's funny,
Oh,
dude. That was
no
that's
doubt.
still one of my most popular joints, man. And it's crazy
Rightfully
because when
so.
I came down here, right, I came back to Texas where I'm from, and I got
Hmm.
into the Houston scene, and so I
Yeah.
got to really compare Houston and Boston. And at one of those points, it was interesting because I literally was telling Edo G about ESG. They're both very big. Like ESG's very big
Oh.
with the screwed up click, and then Edo with Boston,
Hmm.
just because their names, Edo
Yeah. Yeah.
ESG. It was like we're both respected where they're from, but they had never heard of each other until
That
I
parallel.
put them
Right.
together. which was interesting, man. You know, and it's like, but it's just like anywhere, man. You have these kingdoms. You know, hip hop had these kingdoms, all these different cities where you know the guys sit at the tables, and man,
Yo,
and
we just did. I'm sorry for cutting you off, but I had to throw this in here. We just did in my class. We just did a project where each student chose a city, a different city, and they drew out like hip hop maps. So they'd show a map of the city, and then they'd have all the points where all the different hot spots, the different venues, and the record label offices or the neighborhoods where certain MCs came from. Like like one kid did one of Queensbridge, and they had the whole thing mapped out where all the MCs were, the different projects where they lived, and all that stuff.
yeah,
Because that is what it is. It's like it's a global thing now. It's more than even just national. It's global, but it's still local everywhere
yeah,
while it's global at the same time. And so when people migrate around a little bit, like how you've done and how like my boy If has definitely done, how Edon was doing, a lot of different MCs, it's like you move around from place to place and those connections get made. And now with the internet, it's just crazy.
out of
Now,
control, out of
now
control.
I got an album where the producer is from Finland, you know what I mean? And he did all those beats, and I haven't seen him in 5 years. You know what I mean? But he's
It's
sending me that heat. I got the lab at the crib. Let's get it. There's nothing really in our way as long as the grid stays up.
bro. All that's your way, and all that ever was in your way is yourself and time. That's it.
That's right.
And so, man, I asked this question at the end of each interview, man. At the end of the day, when it's all said and done, what is the acrobatic legacy? What do you want to leave behind on this earth? What do you want to be remembered as?
Wow, that's a great question, man. Sometimes I wonder if I want to, because I think at this point, because I've been making music for so long under the name Akrobatik, that maybe no matter what I do with the rest of my life, that's just going to be the name that people remember me by. And when I think about when I came up with that name, I was like 19 years old, and I just wanted a name that described me as a dope MC. And it stuck. So maybe I'm stuck with it forever. So maybe my legacy is gonna be, kind of just what I've done as an entertainer. But I guess what I would say is hopefully people will dig a little deeper than have it be just a one sentence thing like, yeah, this is a dude who used to rap. You know, I want to have my legacy be that I was here and, you know, took tried to take a leadership role in a way that made it so that it was clear and present to anybody who knew me or knew about me that I was about something more than just myself. You know what I mean? Because you can come through here, this world, be all about yourself, and you can get a lot of cool things that'll come to you, but no matter what, it's gonna end the same way. And I have a feeling that the way you feel right at that end about yourself and your character, you know, that's what your soul is gonna have to live with. I'm completely wrong about that, but that's just what my mindset is. And that helps me to just try to be, just try to be the best version of myself that I could be, you know. But also I want to help provide, and I want to be known as someone who accomplished this. I want to help provide people who came from where I came from, but didn't necessarily have the luck and the support that I had to get where I ended up going. I want to help them to find that path, on their own without maybe not needing so much luck. Because a lot of times the path to greatness is just like only blocked by just somebody coming with a push broom and pushing the leaves off of it. And it's like, yo, it's right there for you. Just go ahead. All you have is this one or two little ideas that are stopping you from just going over and taking that whole shit. So just take it. And so, that's, to me, that's what being a teacher is about. Whatever subject you teach, you teach in that, but you're really teaching life through the lens of whatever your subject is. And
Yeah.
so since, brothers is OGs now, I've been around long enough where, I wouldn't have no excuses for not being the adult in the room. You know what I mean? So I just want to do that and kind of just be remembered for that. Just somebody who gave the I guess, an honest representation of themselves to the best that they could.
Man.
You know, ain't nobody out here perfect, man. You know what I'm saying? I would never try to claim that. I'm just saying that my intentions are good, and I know that. And I'm trying to make some dope music for the people, and hopefully one day get back out there and do some shows and enjoy those shows and those crowds and those other artists like yourself, and we all doing this shit live and direct once again, and not just over Zoom. I love Zoom though. I'm glad we could do this, but
hey man, it was important to me, man. This was part of the inspiration, but you know, I will continue this because I've been enjoying the hell out of this. It's been a good way to catch up with everybody, and it's been a good way to document my journey and all who I've got to cross paths with, man. So
thank you so much for the opportunity to just come out and just like speak from the heart for a little while, man. You know, that's another thing. You providing more than you might even realize, because there's a lot of people out there, not necessarily myself, because I'm good. My support system is solid, but I'm saying it's a lot of people out there, whether they're famous or well-known or talented, smart, whatever, beautiful, whatever, there's still a lot of people out there who don't have that many true friends and don't have that many true opportunities to just, you know, wax poetic with somebody that's like-minded, or somebody that's a good listener, or somebody that has something back to offer reciprocally that is worthwhile. So you doing this, you know, you providing that not just for somebody like myself, but also for your audience, the people that's checking it out, and people they get an idea of how the artists whose music they listen to, you know, how we think, and that we're going through life in very real terms, just like them too. So I wish everybody out there the best who's watching this. You know what I'm saying? Stay strong, stay healthy, and stretch.
That's it, man.
Drink water.
Man, for real. Each one teach one, man. And just real quick before we leave, how what's your social media? How do people get to listen to your music? How do they get to see your world online?
Cool. Well, I think the easiest way to find most of my stuff is to just Google Akrobatik, which is Akrobatik. If you want to get specific, it's Akrobatik, spelled the same way, MC. So Akrobatik MC at Akrobatik MC. That's Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I have Spotify. I have Pandora. My music is on Apple Music, Google Play, anywhere music is streaming, you can find my music. I also have a Bandcamp page where you can get stuff like autograph vinyl and things like that. That's also Akrobatik MC, as is my SoundCloud page, Akrobatik MC. So my stuff is out there. Start with Googling Akrobatik and take it from there. And, you know, just about everything there is to find about my artistry is out there, man. And I appreciate all y'all's support. And Jay Tronius, I appreciate your support, man. I'm thankful to have been able to work with you, and I'm looking forward to the next one real soon, hopefully.
Hey man, I'm on call for you always, fam. You stay
That's
amazing,
what it is.
And you stay who you are, man, because you've inspired me and many others. Continue to be who you are, man.
Thank you, big dog.
Jay Tronius, you've been gabbing with the governor, with my man Akrobatik. Love and life.
Sir.
Stay positive. Stay blessed.
Much love, big dog.
Quick to stress. Be good, fam. I appreciate you being on the show, bro.
Yes, sir. Thank you, brother.
Peace, man.
Peace.